I like Asuka, but you know who else I like to see in my Twitter timeline? Mulihao. I absolutely don't know any Chinese, Japanese, or even any Korean, but I see cool art I like. I only watched 3.5 videos on studying art, and my attention span died midway. What you need to look out for to study someone's art are their stylistic choices, brushes, anatomy or proportions, colors, and what they focus on, and also their art process. Studying someone's art style consists of 3 steps. Observing, which is to construct a plan of how to copy their art style. Example, what you like about them, observing their speed paints, and the art process. Generally, you're just trying to see what you can spot that consists of their art style. Copying, which is to redraw one of their art to learn from your mistakes of what you observed wrong, and generally just understand their proportions and style choice, fixing some of your mistakes in the process, and putting it into practice and making your own art while looking at examples still. Stylistic choice. You can see from the art I've shown from Mulihao, there are some details that you could pick up on what they do. For example, they do hair with darker or lighter hair if the character's hair is already mainly dark, without any line art. Presumably drawing strands of hair first, then putting line art on top of that. They also put a lot of colors together and fix it all with rendering. I believe Mulihao draws their art pieces with a more painting-like approach, as I often see colors above the line art. They also use a grainy-like effect along with a glitch and a blur effect. Also, there are some details like lines being different colored. Example, this aventurine art and this sparkle art. While some lines look to have a rougher line art, others have softer ones. Though I'm not certain on whether it's a stylistic choice or just line art being adjusted by rotating it. Also, this is the sketch. I mean, I understand, but it's really messy. No offense, but the trusted process is real. So Mulihao's brushes for sketches are more rougher. I think for Procreate presets, you could use the mechanical pencil. Then for coloring, use a more softer brush, presumably Studio Pen. Take it or leave it. Use airbrushes like soft brushes to make those subtle airbrush light and outline brush. I would say Mulihao uses a lot of an anime, semi-realistic but leaning towards the anime side, just like the game. Like from what I can tell, they use the same measurement of torso. Males can fit 2 heads while female can fit 1.25. Probably. Colors. The colors are mostly toned down and muted, but vibrant enough to look pleasing on the eyes. It seems as though they airbrushed their base colors, and I believe they picked main colors of the characters. Like for example, a shade of yellow, black, white, and green for Danheng, and then expanded on that, adding more and more details and also colors onto them. And said colors do seem to be from one palette or a go-to color picker, because some colors look pretty similar. What they focus on. I think that they may have focused more on the face, as it is usually where the eyes are mostly pointed at. And even though there are details, usually they are painted to look to be there enough, but not that detailed. While Mulihao doesn't have any videos of them drawing, I came to the conclusion that these are the steps from looking at work in progresses. After looking at the art over and over again and analyzing it, I tried to copy a drawing with these steps. After attempting it, I came to the conclusion that I can't exaggerate stuff well. And the anatomy parts of the hair, specifically the back hair, I made it too small and made the eyes too high. And I need to focus more on the position. And because of both of those problems, coming from the fact that I can't make perspectives well. Yeah, I'm not good with proportions. I tried fixing it and it keeps getting worse and worse. So I ended up getting frustrated over and over again. I love Robin, but how the hell did Mulihao do the sketch, presumably a sketch, so well? From what I did, I found out that I messed up on the colors. Most of the colors I color picked was wrong, and it ended up looking duller than the reference. And I realized there are mistakes to my initial guess of Mulihao's workflow. Yeah, and then I wanted to copy a finished art. Maybe I'll learn more things. I didn't. I'm a bloody clown. So yeah, I gave up on studying how to draw an already finished art. And instead I went and drew my own art, which was a stupid move in hindsight. I thought, yeah, drawing the collar was good enough. So I zoomed out and I realized this man was still bald. And then I drew the front hair and thought, man, it doesn't look that bad. So I flipped the canvas, and wouldn't you know it? And the eyes being so high up, he genuinely looks like a horse. So then I tried just coloring the back hair first. Hopefully it'll fix it. And somehow it does. It looks decent enough, but the body, God. I tried giving this man his head for his chest. I twisted it, bopped it, and pulled it. And in the end, I went back to the old base I made after making a new one. So I took a break, drew something else to practice proportions and failing again. And again, I struggled at the hair. So I tried again, drawing the front hair and then coloring the back. And then I thought maybe it's the time that I could try out coloring the hair again and mess some things up. Experimenting a bit. So I airbrushed the bottom with a darker shade of blue, airbrushed the front with lighter color, made a multiply layer to do basic shadows, then add layer for the back hair and highlights. So I messed around a bit, erased some parts, added more, messed up with the line art, and messed around with the skin. And I did something that I should have done before. Filters. Because even though it's not good, it's proof I'm going to a semi-right direction. So I went back to Aventurine, my man. Basically, I finished the art. I was supposed to render, but I didn't. Except for a few strands of hair. And finally I put in the filters again, after forgetting about them. So moral of the story, experiment with your style. You might never know what would work, and also use filters. So to recap what Mulihao does for their workflow, as a guest, I think it's sketch, fixing the sketch, line art, base colors, airbrushing the base, first layer of shadow, second layer of shadow, basic details, render or fixing it, and filters. And yes, Mulihao did show what brushes they used in their art, but I only found out after I did the initial brushes segment in the beginning. I just want to say that Mulihao replied back to me while I was in class, and I was freaking out the whole time, and yeah. So yeah, check out some other stuff I make. Might be more soon.